me tell you something, brother. This might be the best OG Kush I've ever had. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. You just said a mouthful, brother. I'm higher than helicopter, but listen though, Hulkster. YoungLurch has been running his mouth on that podcast. Blaze the Bingohall podcast needs to show some respect to the veterans, brother. I say we run in there and show YoungLurch and his guest just exactly who the OGs of this game are, What you gonna do, Blaze the Bingohall podcast, when the Macho Man and the Hulkster run wild on you? Ooh, yeah. Give me like 10 minutes, though, because I'm really, really stoned. Oh, yeah.
Welcome into Blaze the Bingohall. I'm your host with the most, YoungLurch. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Today's guest ain't like it used to be. Hey, my man, Kelly Bell. Kelly, welcome to the Bingo Hall.
Let me tell you something, Hulkster and Macho. You can come get some if you want, but the purveyor of Phat Blues music will be here waiting for you, baby. You understand? Former tag team champion of MCW, former Rage TV champion of MCW. So if you want some, well, it's kind of too late for that, huh? Is that too soon, baby? Too soon for that joke?
Welcome in, Kelly. I'm glad you were able to stop by. We've been planning this for a while. I've been wanting to have you as a guest ever since I started this podcast. So I'm glad you were able to stop by and hang out with your boy.
All right, definitely. But we must at some point acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Okay.
You and I know each other for one very specific reason initially.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be, you want to spill the beans?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. All right.
Yeah,
we'll
so
get to
everybody
that.
hang on.
We got a nice little meat and potatoes part, so we'll get to that. We'll leave you guys on a cliffhanger. So we'll get right into it. So growing up in Baltimore, what first drew you to music?
Well, actually, I mean, truth be told, I grew up in D.C. I'm from Riggs Park, which is why you hear the go-go influence.
Internet lies, everybody.
Yeah. I grew up in Riggs Park, D.C. It's a northeast, a little area in northeast D.C. And that's where I get my love from go-go music from. From guys like Chuck Brown and Rare Essence and EU and Junkyard Band and the bands that I grew up with that were and Trouble Funk. I don't know how I could leave Trouble Funk out. They were probably the ambassador of go-go music, and a lot of people in DC don't even know that. But Trouble Funk was in Japan long before anybody else was.
Wow.
So I mean, but being in Baltimore, man, the influence that I came to Baltimore to study for my master's degree. And when I completed that, I just ended up staying, honestly. I found that the Baltimore area was, DC kind of became more like New York. It's more transient because there are people that come, especially in like the Northern Virginia area. People are constantly in and out. But in Baltimore, man, you could feel like you had a little bit more root. And the arts are amazing. Like in Baltimore, you can go to see a live band play 7 nights a week for free. Like it might not be the best band you ever heard, but it might be the most amazing band you've ever heard too. Yeah. So you can hear poetry in Baltimore. Any week, man, you can find an open mic spot if you are a poet. So opening up to the arts like that was incredible. And it's also been a city in, like most major cities, a city in need. And the other side of my life, I spend a lot of time working with folks with emotional difficulties, particularly children. I've worked in corrections. I've kind of found my niche with that and being a licensed certified therapist. But the truth is, as the leader of the Kelly Bell Band, I've also been in 35 countries. Wow. I've been all over the world. I've been to Japan 6 times, man. I work with the military. I've been to Guantanamo Bay 3 times. I've seen things I had no business seeing. I have sat with Nelson Mandela and embraced him. I have sat and been schooled by B.B. King, by Bobby Blue Bland. I was friends with Albert Collins, who was like a mentor of mine, Big Jesse Yawn and Big Jack Johnson. I mean, and these are just the blues cats, man. Just some of them. I've got blues influences now that have helped my career, like Miss Deanna Bogart, the queen of Boogie Woogie, and Mark Winter from the legendary Nighthawks. Mark Winter's the reason I got tattoos on my arms, because I just thought he was just the coolest white dude I'd ever seen when I was a young black kid, seeing this crazy looking white dude that looked like a biker and is. Which, let me just tell a quick story about Mark Winter.
Good.
Mark Winter recently had a bike accident. He goes over top of this classic. He restores motorcycles. He goes over the top. His body hits the car, and the car got totaled. That's what badass looks like. The car got totaled. They got the whole car covered. He's back on stage.
Yeah, he walks away. The car gets to.
And he's been playing music in the Nighthawks for 54 years. I'm bragging about 30.
That's wild.
Yeah, I'm on my 30th anniversary tour, and Mark just blows that out of the water, man. I mean, I don't want to hit a car with my body.
No,
I've done it. I've done it. I've been some falls count anywhere matches. I've done, weapons. Fans bring the weapons night on Fort Meade, where there's no state athletic commission, where everybody's
get a little rowdy.
Everybody's coming off of balconies. I got no business coming off a balcony. I got 2 other careers to be worrying about.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
So you said you've been to over 30 different countries. Is that all contributed from you being able to travel through music?
Yes, absolutely.
That's amazing that you've been able
None
to.
of them has been because of a social worker, and actually, unfortunately, my wrestling career didn't take me to any other countries either. But I have been recognized for it and things like that, and I'm not saying there wasn't an interest, because there have been interest in other countries, but as you can imagine, my schedule is not the simplest one, and I'm on tour all the time. So I had my own radio show. Between doing my radio show and doing my being on the band on the road all the time, and working as a social worker, because I'm in what's called a working band. As much as we work, people say you should play full time. We definitely play full time, y'all. And you don't know the preparation and everything. We're still a band that practices every Wednesday night that we're not playing. So that's great. So people say, how do you stay so tight? Well, we put that work in always.
That's it. That's the thing. It's like, well, how do you guys play so good? How's everything so smooth? It's like
practice,
putting the work in. Yeah.
Same way you get the Carnegie Hall.
Yeah. So what does Phat Blues mean to you, and how did the Kelly Bell Band name come about?
So Phat Blues music, PHAT, by the way. People ask us to define it all the time, and it's really tough. And the best thing I could think of is to say, if you could imagine Muddy Waters wearing a Bob Marley t-shirt, riding on a Black Sabbath tour bus on the way to a Parliament Funkadelic concert, listening to a James Brown 8-track tape, humming a Run DMC song with a Nighthawks ball cap on, all in the glory of Bo Diddley, with just a hint of B.B. King and a smidge of Bobby Parker and a whole lot of Aretha Franklin, then you'd be close to what we do, but only close. Nice. So it's a hodgepodge of different influences. I think that when we first came up with Phat Blues music 30 years ago, I don't think people were as eclectic as they are now. Back in the day, people would say, oh man, I listen to all kinds of music. And then you go over their house and they got 4 CDs and 3 of them all the same kind of music. This band has had different influences over the years. And we always, with different cats in the band, like we've had like rock drummers and funk drummers. And, we've always had the right guy in the band at the right time.
Do you think with having like more, I guess, reach and availability for people to obtain your music, that it's able to, like, I guess, get you guys more noticed out there?
I think
before
it's been a resurgence. Not that we've never done poorly, knock wood. Thank God we've always done fairly well right from the very beginning. You asked me how it started. I used to be in a band called Fat Tuesday. And we were playing one night, and I had gotten an offer from a club that I was actually the bouncer in. I was studying for my master's, essentially, and I was bouncing at night, working at the courthouse during the day, and in school to get my master's in between, and grinding on the weekends with this band that played a lot of weddings and a lot of clubs. I mean, Fat Tuesday, they've been around 20-something years. So I got an offer to back up Bo Diddley. So what we would do is we'd come out, do an hour, and then we would bring Bo out. He does an hour. Then they clear the house and we do it all over again. Bo give you 2 hours. He give you 2 hours straight, or he give you 2 1-hour sets. 2 1-hour sets was harder for us because I had to learn 2 completely different shows. So this cat, Fat Tuesday, wasn't really interested in doing it. They had done it from a lot of blues acts. A lot of blues acts were touring like that. And Bo didn't travel with his own band at all. You get like 15 minutes to like go over a few things with him, and that's it. And so you better be on point, and you better have some of this stuff rehearsed, you know. And Bo carried a 38 too. So yeah, he didn't drink or drug, man. He didn't drink or drug, but he kept that 38 pretty close to his belt, and he was paid in cash. So and he turned out to be a mentor of mine, you know. He fell in love with us when we did the first gig with him at the 8x10. And the reason we did it was, God rest his soul, a guy named Automatic Slim, who recently passed, a blues legend in the Baltimore area. And Slim said, he was sitting in with Fat Tuesday night, and he said, man, go ahead and take the gig. I'm going to find you a musician. So he got the Persuaders, the rhythm section, and a piano player from the Persuaders. And he was in the Rev Tones. I was in Fat Tuesday. I wanted to be the Baltimore Blues All-Stars. I thought that was a great name. Slim said, no, man, go under your own name. You never know if you want to do this again. I wasn't even the lead singer in my own band. So, I mean, I played conga, sang backup. I'd come out and sing maybe 3 or 5 songs on a whole night, you know, and that's a 3-set night. And we did a lot of weddings and all kinds of stuff like that. And Slim said, no, man, go under your own name. And who knew 30 years later, I'd have been in 35 countries.
Did you not feel like you believed in yourself maybe as much at that moment, that you wanted to put all the spotlight on you, so to say, as, hey, this is the Kelly Bell Band and this is me now? Or you just... I
had been a lead singer in a heavy metal band coming out of high school called Border Patrol, and we were terrible. But we had fun. You know, we had a good time doing what we did. But this was different. Because the caliber of musicians that have always been in the Kelly Bell Band, even when we were doing the hired musician thing, and that's a lot of bands do that. That's why you go to a blues festival and you might see the same bass player on stage on 2 different stages with 3 different bands, because those guys are getting work. They're really good, and they can do what they do. And we did that. I did that with Slim for probably about 3 years, but the problem was I had an itch to write original blues music. That was the thing I felt like my genre was missing. By still paying homage and respect to those, you know, the previous generations. But I also had hip hop in my blues. I had rock in my blues because I had a heavy metal influence. I was in the punk scene. I even liked new wave when it came through, man. So, I mean, I like reggae. So, I mean, I'm always like adding things. Like, good music is good music, man. I'm taking my old lady to see the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra play Beethoven in a couple of days.
Nice.
You know, I'm a member. You know,
nice.
And I think, and particularly speaking as a black man, you know, I think that a lot of African Americans don't think that type of music belongs to us, but I think they forget that black people are the root of all popular music, because it came from blues, which came from gospel music. So, and that's the root of all popular music. I don't care what you're listening to. If you think blues wasn't the origin of it, you're wrong. With the exception of, you know, classic styles, not classy, sorry, classic styles like you know, classical music and stuff like that.
I think that also goes back to, like, kind of like you said, like, some people are like, oh, I listen to everything. It's like, do you listen to everything? Because
do you really though?
Yeah.
No, really.
How did
you? That everybody in my band definitely listens to everything, and they didn't necessarily listen to everything when they got into the band.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't be in the Kelly Bell Band and not grow. And that counts for me too, because anytime we had somebody new, and by new, I mean, like, we've had a couple different bass players, we have a couple different drummers. I'm talking about people that have been in the band, like my guitar player, Ryan Fowler, who is the owner of Ryan Fowler's Guitar Experience, the greatest guitar shop in the Baltimore area.
Shout out.
Ryan has been in the band 17 years now. Ryan loves, and he does interviews, he loves telling the story that him and his friends used to sneak in to see the Kelly Bell Band at the Record Theater when they were underage.
Wow.
And now he's been in the band 17 years.
That's where my first concert was, Record Theater. That's crazy. A little place. If you know, you know, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, if when they reopened, I gleefully accepted their invitation to put not only my picture on the wall, but they put the band name and all of that stuff is painted into the actual wall. It's awesome.
Nice.
It's quite an honor.
That's awesome.
But nobody played that room more than me.
That's awesome. How did your connection with 98 Rock shape your career and visibility in say the Baltimore scene?
Well, 98 Rock has been really good to me, man. It started with Kirk McEwen. Kirk McEwen and I met at a show that he was doing, and he used to have a T-shirt that said, "I didn't know he was black."
Yeah, because he's on the radio,
right? Because he's on 98
Yeah.
Rock, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious, and I went up to a concert at the Capitol Center. That's how long ago that was, just to tell him, like, yo, man, I really dig that, like, you being able to embrace that, and it reminds, you know, black folks like me that like rock and roll, that, you know, it's okay to still be black and like rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, because that's not always, and a lot of times black folks, they don't embrace, like, you know, see, a Slipknot concert isn't exactly packed with black people. I'll be there, but but it's not exactly black, and that's only because black folks haven't really been exposed to it, because they kind of forget sometimes that we invented rock and roll. Period. I'm like, Bo Diddley is a pioneer of rock and roll. He is. He absolutely. He's the guy that stepped away from rhythm and blues and created rock and roll. Little Richard put some polish on it, you know, and Elvis took blues and went rock and roll. Like it or not, that's what happened.
Yeah, it's like you said, some of the black people that you see at the Slipknot concert, they might be some of the coolest black people you ever meet.
And but there's so many people that, like, again,
they think it's like taboo, like, oh, I shouldn't be listening to that, or that's not for me, or that's, you know what I mean, crazy white people music, or, you know what I mean,
right?
Something
And but even getting away from race, we can just go ageism, because there's younger people. Part of our mission was introducing younger people to the blues, and if you mix it with a little hip hop, or you mix it with a little pop or a little rock, all of a sudden you have their attention, and next thing you know, they're listening to a Muddy Waters song that they had no idea who it is, and I introduced them to it. And one of the things I love about our show and our fans is people come back and they say, man, you said you played this Muddy Waters song and you talked about Muddy Waters. He said, that night I went out and bought a Muddy Waters album, and he's now been my favorite artist for the last 5 years. That does my heart good, even more so than when somebody says, man, I love that song of yours, Dear Maggie, you know?
Yeah. It's you're getting to pass on that, you know, genre that may get passed over or looked over, that, you know, is, hey, this is where what you guys should be listening to. In some
I
sense,
had mentors like Smokey Wilson and Big Jack Johnson. Smokey was grandpa, and Big Jack Johnson was either big brother or uncle. I forgot what he called himself. You know, I mean, those Big Jesse Yawn, you know, from the Baltimore area, who, you know, at days when I, you know, being a perfectionist and being OCD as hell, I didn't want to get on stage with him one night. I used to go see him at the New Haven Lounge. He did a residency there every Wednesday, and he'd do 2-3 sets every Wednesday night, and people would not get bored of coming to see him, including myself. If I was off, I was there. And one night I was there and I couldn't sing because my voice was just wrecked. I've been playing, like, you know, we'd done like 7 shows in the previous week, and Jesse said, I need you to get up tonight. I want you to come and do a tune. And I said, Jesse, I could barely talk, man. I'm like, I'm just here to take lessons. And Jesse said, yeah. Come on in the back alley with me. And so we get in the back of the alley, and he hands me a shot of his bourbon. And he says, take a sip of that. I take a sip of it. And, you know, he's an old school blues dude. So, you know, it's like when I'm standing next to Mark Winter, you think we're buddies and everything. And no, I'm listening to what the boss is telling me to do.
Right.
I'm at the learning tree. And so Jesse said, take a little sip of this. And he said, all right, now scream your head off. We stand in the alley in the back of New Haven Line. He's like, scream. And I'm like, Jesse, he said, scream, damn it. And I went, ah. He said, good. Now you warmed up. Come and do this song. And that was it. And like, he didn't take no for an answer.
Right.
And he'll let you know, this is what we do. He said, you don't always have 100% when you stand behind the microphone, but you always give 100%. And that taught me something, and just in show business in general. And that was for my wrestling career too. I wasn't the best wrestler. Wasn't nobody going to beat me on the stick though.
Yeah.
So you put me on the microphone, I didn't have to be the best. I could piss you off enough. See, I could wrestle Tito Santana like I did. And Tito, who was like, one of the biggest baby faces of all time, and probably one of the most underrated workers of all time. And if the world had been a little bit more accepting and different, Tito Santana would have been like a bigger legend than he already is.
Yeah.
Honestly, but just because his work was so amazing. And he was such an over-the-top baby face, But so I could do it. Like when I wrestled Tito, I did a little thing with him. I said, Tito's. And again, blues and wrestling run side by side when you talk about respect. Mm-hmm. So that's really, really important. So I went to him before and I said, hey, hey, Tito, I'm Kelly Bell. I'm working you tonight. Just so you know, if it's cool with you, I'm going to get some heat on you. And he said, yeah, man, do your heat. Get it set up. That makes the job easier. That makes everything easy, which in wrestling is like the best thing that anybody could tell you. If you had a match and they looked at you and said, how'd it go, man? And you go, easy. That's the highest compliment that you can get. Well, Tito was all for it. He was like, go get your heat, man. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I said, are you sure? I'm really good at this. Like, I'm really, really good at this. And Tito's like, get your heat. I said, bet. So I got out there and Buzz and I are out there. And I say, hey, Buzz. And Buzz played the straight man at that point, which is another beautiful thing that Buzz did for me. He allowed me to be the celebrity because I already was a celebrity. So he stepped in and he filled in the gaps and played the tough guy, And coming from being champion in another organization, and he came over to be my partner and take harder bumps to and he really schooled me on a lot of stuff too, But I didn't need anybody's help about being in front of the mic or in front of the camera or being on stage. I just wanted to make sure I didn't hurt anybody, or get hurt, which I did. Broken neck, 3 surgeries, all of that good stuff. No
From wrestling?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
So Tito's, getting ready to come out, and we come out. I say, hey, Buzz, what has 64 legs and 8 teeth? He goes, I don't know, Buzz. Up the front row right here in Dundalk. And so now I'm getting heat, I'm getting all this heat. And so we're going back and forth. And I finally say, hey, Buzz. Yeah, boss. What? And this is terrible. I can't believe I said this one. Even me, I was worried about this one. I said, yeah, Buzz. What does a fat white girl from Dundalk and a brick have in common? And Buzz said, I don't know, boss. I said, it's just a matter of time before they both get laid by a Mexican. And as soon as I say that, they hit Tito's music. Tito comes out. He puts the beat down. He beats me all around the arena, man. It's just, And then, of course, he throws me back in the ring. The Buzz comes dragging me out, the whole thing, we get all the gimmicks in. Tito comes backstage and goes, that was brilliant. He was like, that was the best setup I think I've ever had. And he was just so appreciative of it, I did a show. We did a show for the police organization in the area, in the Harford County area. Mm-hmm. And they do a show with MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling, all, every year they do one. And it's always a lot of fun, man. And it's a way to thank those guys for their hard work too.
Right.
But I was a heel. And we happened to have lost our tag team titles at one of these shows. So I was pissed off, of course, and I'm not leaving the ring. I'm not too dope, walked off with my belt. I'm like, there's no way Blackout's leaving out here with my I want my rematch clause right now. Get a ref, get them back out here so they're not their crowd is booing. Get out of the ring. We're gonna keep up the show. Get out of the ring. I'm not getting out of the ring. I don't care what you say. And you ain't got nobody that can get me out of the ring.
Right.
Well, they got one of the state troopers to get in the ring. So he gets in the ring and he's like, hey, and he's trying to be real peaceful. He's like, he got to go, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting out of here. And I grab his face and I'm mushing. And he, then he's like, come on. Like he's trying to still keep his stuff together because he knows he's sitting in front of everybody. Like, come on, man, this is a family event. Don't be like that. I grab his face and I mush him again. Now he's irritated and he's making it very clear that I better not do that again. I'm not afraid of you, cop. mush. He gives me the boot, gives me the stone cold stunner, gives me a cutter, and I'm laid out. Buzz grabs me, pulls me out the ring, and Buzz is, I'm all, because I just wrestled a match, lost my title, and I'm, and this is when I had dreadlocks too, so my hair is all over the place. I'm sweating like a pig. He's in the ring.
Of course, you cut all your hair off.
I have completely put him over now. So the crowd is, they're cheering for one of their own, and it's amazing to them. And I look at Buzz and I'm like, and this is where being a seasoned entertainer comes in. I'm like, wait a minute, we're not done with this yet. And Buzz is like, what are you talking about? We got to get out here, let him have a shine. I'm like, no, we still got something left, and it's only going to help his shine. I said, take me over to the microphone board. So he, I sell all the way over to the microphone board, and I grab the mic and I go, you cop, you can't do that to me. You can't do. I'm Kelly Bell. Don't you know who I am? I'm Kelly Bell. I'm not Rodney King. Woo! Same cop. I did a gimmick at I think it was Pasadena. I can't remember where it was, but it was some show, and I was pooping on the audience, and it was when Steve McNair came to the Ravens. So I had lights and smoke and everything set up on the entranceway. And then I came out, and of course I'm pooping all over the audience. I'm telling this guy about his wife and his little ratty kids, the whole thing. And then I say, ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. All jokes aside, get on your feet and let's introduce the savior of Baltimore football. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve McNair. And the smoke and the lights are going off. Everybody leaps to their feet. They're going nuts. And I let them go. And then I just start laughing. I'm like, did you rednecks really think he was going to come here to see you? Are you nuts? Do you know how much money they got to pay to get me here? Well,
I noticed that's something that you like to do, like in music too, because like you'll do like the journey thing, like you'll start playing separate ways or something, and you'll get everybody into it, and you'll pull the rug right out from underneath them. You like doing that.
Well, one, I'm almost always tell a racial joke because we're a multi-race, multi-sex band, and there is a basic principle that we operate on, and I'll get into that later. But there's room at the table for us all. And that's the message that we try to send. But you can't just walk up and treat it like a pulpit and be preaching to people and trying to force it down their throat. You got to present it in a way that they can hear it, which is what I think Phat Blues music is in the first place, particularly for younger people. If you're presenting it in a way that people can receive it, things tend to go a little better. So, if you're playing a festival and it's 10 bands and everybody's playing covers but you, and then all of a sudden I play your favorite song and I give you 15 seconds of it and you come down and you hear it and you're, and then whoop, see, like somebody took the needle off. Except I'm doing it with a live band and you're going, hey, and I'm going,
you got their attention.
Gotcha. Well, now that you're down here, listen to something something else you came to hear. And so I've always seen the show as being kind of like the Flip Wilson variety show. There's jokes, there's spontaneous things that happen. There are things that are obviously very planful. It's a very well rehearsed, extremely talented musical band, with music that you can relate to. Even though the song seems simple, when you're a musician and you pick up and you start trying to play along, you go, how do they do? Like, what chord is that? Like, you don't get it. I mean, they're top-notch folks that have been in this band over the years, and the current lineup right now is probably one of the best ever, musicianship-wise. And we've been carrying this year for our 30th year anniversary. We've been carrying the horn section and everything. So it's like taking the records straight to the stage.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome that you guys are still doing your thing and still at a high level, like you said, in your 30th year.
It's been a blessing.
Speaking of your wrestling transition, what inspired you to step into the world of professional wrestling?
Well, I've always been a mark for wrestling. I got to admit that. And a lot of wrestlers don't want to admit that because they say, well, I'm no mark. You act like a mark. It's like it's a bad thing. No, it's okay to be a fan, man. It's okay. It's all right. I mean, like that's what you got into it for. Don't tell me the first time you saw a wrestling match, you were smartened up. Don't act like that.
There's a lot of people that try to do that. Yeah.
you saw a magic show and you wondered how the guy did that too.
Yeah.
You know, but you knew he didn't really saw the woman in half, but you damn sure were fascinated by the fact that he looked like he had half a chick on stage with him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, so, and wrestling is no different, man. How can you not look in awe when you see Jimmy Snuka come off the top of the cage in Madison Square Garden onto Don Morocco, your then favorite wrestler, and see this splash? And it's one of the most athletic things you'd ever seen in your entire life. And this guy did it in bare feet from the top of a cage. And then, how crazy is my life? Years later, I get to be in the ring with Jimmy Snuka.
That is wild.
Yeah, man.
Do you feel like being able to perform on stage with music, things came a little bit easier for you in the ring? Like you said, obviously you were great on the stick. Nobody could touch you on the mic. And I believe that even till this day, like give you a microphone right now and put you out in front of a wrestling crowd, you're going to come out there and cut it up just like, you know what I mean?
Get them every time. I go back every once in a while. My wife is making it clear. I wrestled a couple matches in the last 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And my wife made it abundantly clear that that's not happening anymore.
Okay.
she said, stop it. You're not doing this anymore. You know, that's just a part of your life that, you know, but no wrestler ever says, I wrestled my last match.
Right. Never say never, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, when Buzz said he was going to have his last match before he went to Florida, I was a part of that. And we went together, and I just had to really, really unfortunately treat a young man differently with a kendo stick. So I let him know, I'm like, please don't take this ass whipping personally, but I'm gonna put it on.
This is gonna be special.
Right. This is a big match. This is a big deal to my partner, and you know, we gotta
lay it in on this one.
Man, I'm gonna lean in. I'm telling you, it's gonna be real stiff. So when and fortunately he knew, and he was like, yeah, man, do what you got to do. And man, when he took his gear off backstage,
all welted up,
he looked like a tiger. I was so apologetic. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, man. You know, I said it looked great, and you sold it fantastic, but I owe you dinner.
Yeah,
I owe you dinner. Because damn. Yeah. And he was, you know, I mean, he wasn't a rookie or anything. I mean, this was a vet, you know, but obviously I had more experience than him, and he came up and he was like, you know, he was just like, it was an honor to be in the ring with you, man. And like, this is what we had to do. This was the job tonight. And so we did the gig, you know, we did the job. And I was impressed by his professionalism.
That's dope. How did the physicality of wrestling challenge you compared to being like a front man on stage? Obviously, you got to have your wind for each one, and I'm sure it's a little bit different, right?
Well, yeah, but there are some similarities, like the whole snatching the rug out from under you thing with the gimmick songs. That came from being a heel in wrestling. But because it's easy to get people to cheer when you're on stage in a band. You say the name of the town, you point to somebody in the crowd, you know, you just say something really cool. That's easy. But getting people like a stand-up comedian there's a lot of stand-up on our show too. You feel it when a joke runs flat. You know, all of a sudden you were up there with a whole band, and now you feel like you're up there by yourself.
Yeah, like, everybody's looking at you.
Right. Everybody's looking at you like, what did you say that for? You know, and that has happened. You know, you definitely bomb sometimes, you know, with the jokes.
Just keep it moving, right?
Yeah, you got to keep it moving. You got to keep taking. It's like if you're the point guard, you got to keep shooting your J. Sometimes you got to shoot your way out of that trouble, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, there are a lot of similarities, you know, in the presentation. Plus, I traveled on the national karate circuit. I studied Shorin-ryu for years with Master Eberhard Welch. I played football. I was an amateur wrestler for many years. So
you weren't unfamiliar with physicality.
No, not at all. I mean, I knew how to break fall from martial arts. So wrestling is just different kind of break falling. You break fall and make it look good, and that's different. But you still want to protect yourself because you got to do it again tomorrow night.
Right. You got to be able to conserve at least a little bit, right, to get to the next one.
It's a tough business, man. You know, there's no way nobody comes out of that unscathed physically. But just about everybody thinks it's worth it, and I certainly did.
What was your first wrestling match like, and who was your opponent?
I was scared to death. It was Jimmy Cicero, who was at that time, he's an MCW legend. And he's still wrestling now. I don't think he's crazy, but he's still wrestling now.
There's
and
a lot of those vets that are still
man.
from that era that are wrestling still.
And he was trained by Ivan Koloff. So I mean, he was, he was old school about it. And yeah, I mean, he clotheslined me out of my boots. That was my first move in the wrestling ring was getting clotheslined by him. And I was there as the celebrity Kelly Bell. I'd sang the national anthem that night and all this other stuff. And then I turn around and Jimmy Cicero takes my head off and turns me inside out. And at the time, I was about 370 pounds. So just think about what we talked about since you're smartened up. If you're 375 pounds or so and somebody takes you inside out, that means you can do some stuff in the ring. So that when they saw that happen, they were like, oh, we need to get him more involved. So then next thing I know, and it all started because those guys that owned it, Mark the Shark Schrader initially, and Dan McDivitt, that owned MCW from the beginning, they were fans of the Kelly Bell Band. So I'd give them tickets to my shows. They would give me tickets to their shows. And one day I'm standing backstage, peeking through the curtain, looking at some of my childhood heroes and some local talent that's just absolutely outstanding and always has been. MCW is the cream of the crop in indies. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, man, I've always dreamed of this. But I didn't really mean dream. I meant fantasize. A dream is something you're willing to work for and all of that. And I didn't have to do that. I mean, I went in to work because guys like the Bruiser and Axel Rotten, who trained me, God rest his soul. I just a quick thing about Bruiser, man. I miss that guy. I miss that guy for a lot of reasons. When he was at the end in his struggle, he had me come to the hospital. Just so he can, say what he needed to say and so that I could say what I needed to say. And I was one of the last people that got to see him. And it was quite the honor. Quite the honor.
That just, I think, adds to your character too. Like the type of guy you are. Just to share a little story. I remember being like 15, 14 years old. I had pneumonia in both of my lungs. And my dad being like, hey, somebody wants to talk to you. And it was Kelly Bell on the line. That's something I never forgot. There's just like hey, just trying to cheer you up, see how you're doing, check in on you. It's like something that you didn't have to do. But to me as a kid, that was like, man, that was so cool, So that just goes to show the type of guy Kelly is, everybody. So yeah.
We've done some, there's a lot of things we do quietly, I could tell you stories about folks who came out of comas because of songs they heard, and the first thing coming out of their mouth was FBI, one of our songs. We have played music in more PICUs than I even remember. One young lady who has come to see me since she was 18 months, and every year we take a picture of the picture with her.
That's cool.
Well, she eventually had a child. And her boy had a long, difficult fight for his life, and unfortunately, he eventually didn't make it. But at one point, he was in the PICU, and she said her mom called, got in touch with us, and asked if we would sign a picture for her and mail it to them to give her some encouragement because she was going to the PICU every day to pray for her son. And when we found out, and our production manager, Dr. Stephanie Reisner, she found out, who was also a special education teacher. So, I surround myself with good people, So Stephanie said, can't we do better than that? I said, hell yeah, we can. So the next day when she showed up to come see her son at University of Maryland Hospital, we were in the lobby with acoustic instruments waiting for her.
Wow.
The whole band. And we went we made arrangements to go up to the floor, and we did a show for everybody on the PICU, all the nurses. And then we left CDs, an entire sleeve of CDs for all the nurses, all the shifts.
That's awesome.
When we left, just for taking care of that guy. We brought him, we had shirts made, all of that stuff. And like I said, he lost his battle, unfortunately. He crossed over and he's in paradise now, but he also has siblings that were born after him and they're doing very well. That's awesome. That young lady still comes to see us every single year.
Yeah, those are connections that you can't find nowhere else. You know what I mean? It's like, and those people will be connected to you for eternity.
and it's a blessing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing
I did
that.
want to say something. I mean, we're playing the Reckless Shepherd coming up, which is a really cool place in Columbia. We're bringing the whole band. So I would love for people to come out to the Reckless Shepherd and see us. We also playing Bowstrong, which is, since we were talking about some of the charities that we participate in, Bowstrong is one of my favorite. Burgers and Bands also being one of my favorite. That one works with teen suicide prevention. We just started a new one on 9/11 every year at 9/11, and we did it at the Reckless Shepherd actually with John Way and NAMI and the VA Way. It's an organization that looks out for veteran suicide prevention, which I thought 9/11 made sense. And, we partnered with all of these other organizations, nonprofit organizations. And now we're going to be doing it. The first year was Deanna Bogart, the Kelly Bell Band, and the Nighthawks. And then we all did a set together. It was an incredible show. Nice. Everybody that showed up stayed. The place was packed, and it was on a Thursday. So it was, it was awesome. So we just said, we're just going to do 9/11 every year, regardless of what day it falls on. That's the day we do. And that way, all the bands too that are going to be part of it will know in advance. We'll let you know in advance. The Kelly Bell Band will always be a part of it, and we'll always play the middle slot. So I always want somebody else to headline and somebody else to start.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So but Bowstrong. So how the Ronald McDonald House, and this is no disrespect to the Ronald McDonald House, the Ronald McDonald House at 18 that you have to leave because it's for children. So, and they got to have a cutoff, and I get it, but you don't want to hear that when your kid just turned 19 and they're still getting cancer treatments.
Yeah. The
young man's name was Bo, and Bo hit 19. He wasn't done with the treat, and it had nothing to do with the Ronald McDonald House, him not making it. It had more to do because cancer sucks. Yeah. And so Bo didn't make it, and before he passed, his parents had to get out of the Ronald McDonald House, and they had to find housing in the Hopkins area, and which was ain't cheap. And meanwhile, they're not working because they're they want to be there with their kid all the time. So they're doing all of that, and they almost went bankrupt trying to do everything. And then their son passed, and like I said, I surround myself with good people. They thought it made more sense to start an organization that would build housing and supply housing to families who were in the exact same situations. As you aged out of one facility, then another facility would play catch. And that's what Bowstrong does. And we have played their event every single year they've had it. We have rushed back from Japan to make sure that we play a free show so that we can do that for them.
It's amazing.
So that's the nature of the people I surround myself with. And people give me so much credit for it, but the truth is I ain't up there playing music by myself. It's people that I surround myself with, great people.
Yeah. And I'm sure that helps carry you through a lot of times where you're like, you may not, maybe not feel up to par or whatever it is, but you're like, Absolutely. Hey, there's a bigger reason of why I'm doing this. So
again, wrestling and music, they run parallel, man. This isn't the kind of job where you call off.
Yeah.
There is no calling out sick. I've been on stage with 104 temperature. I've passed out at backstage. I've been hurt in wrestling matches when I had to be on stage, and I'm on stage with crutches. And I just have to tell people, hey, this is what happened. I'm a wrestler, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
And then I really got to kick ass. Yeah. Because I'm not jumping off the drum riser. So if I got to, I'll try not to sit on a stool, but I might be up there with crutches. Yeah. But I'm going to be in extraordinary pain afterwards. Also, we're also doing Ocean City. We've been playing in the ocean a lot, but we're doing the Ocean City Sunfest too, which is really, really cool. That's coming up too. So I invite everybody, just go to find us on Facebook, check us out on Instagram. We got videos on YouTube, all of that stuff, man. So check that stuff out, and please, please, please come see us, particularly this 30th year. It's been awesome. It's opened the door for a lot of things, there've been times when I've thought about, do I still want to be Kelly Bell? It's 30 years is a long time, and do I still want to do it? And I credit my beautiful wife, Adrienne, who, when I'm in that place where I'm starting to question it, she just starts laughing in my face. Like, what are you, dumb? Like, yeah, no, you're not done. She's like, you're not
Yeah.
done. And she started doing merchandise. She's like, let me show you. There's some things you can do. And we like this year, our 30th year, we sold more merchandise this year than we have any year.
Wow.
Ever. Combinations of some years. I mean, it's been absurd. Like,
that's her bringing a different mindset to the way you guys are doing it.
Yeah, she has a gift for that kind of stuff. She has a gift for marketing, and she used to sell mortgages and stuff like that. I mean, she's been around a little bit. Yeah, she's been around a little bit, but she's just brilliant.
Yeah.
I married up.
Yeah. Do you feel like you had a lot of fans that came over from the music world when you started wrestling?
I honestly, I think my fans are pretty separate. Because I meet fans. It's always cool for me when I bump into a fan in the airport that's a wrestling fan, and they don't even know anything about the band. And that coming up to me, I of course naturally think that they're talking about the band. But when I find out that they're talking about my masters, I pop for it, man. I pop for it like it was like a Rock and Roll Express double drop kick. I was like, oh yeah, they know me from wrestling. I mean, from the band. I'm not saying I don't take that for granted either. Don't get me wrong. It just happens way more. Yeah. And wrestling is something that, I got into it because I was the celebrity guy. When we've all had done matches where we brought celebrities in. I did a match with Steve Winko.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, man. We put him in the ring with some students when before the match had started. Before we let the crowd in, because he was he's hitting them like cops.
I was saying he was laying them out, right? Yeah.
We were trying to show him how to do a clothesline, and
like,
he was taking people's heads off. And I'm like, man, he ain't doing that to me. Come here, you put that down. Come here. I'm like, I want you to take an Irish whip and then take this clothesline. And it was like, and then we'd let him take a couple students' heads off, and they were like, Steve, you got to stop killing people. I'm not getting in the ring with you. I'm not getting in the ring with you if you're gonna kill me, yo. I gotta work on Monday. Okay,
I gotta work sold out completely, like back to the door, right when he came.
Dude, it was ridiculous. Yeah, it was ridiculous. There must have been like 6,000 people there.
That was Michael's 8th Avenue, right? Michael's 8th Avenue.
Yep.
Not there
and
anymore.
That was a fabulous show, man. Fabulous show. But we smartened him up, and he was ready. He was ready, and he put on one hell of a show, man. And then next thing you know, he had his own show.
Yeah. So obviously being able to perform music, and then, like you said, it came a little bit natural to you on the mic. Do you feel like your approach to cutting promos and performing a song are relatively similar? Or do you feel like when you're cutting promos, is that more like, are you just on the fly? I mean, I'm sure you probably have a basis of certain things you want to say, or.
It depends, honestly. Because I used to do something called the Phat Blues Cafe. And that so we bring those two worlds together in an MCW ring, and it would just be me doing an interview, and it was like Piper's Pit. It was that kind of thing. And sometimes I'd play the face, and sometimes I'd turn heel on you.
Yeah.
Like I remember I turned heel on Ron Simmons, and he punched me right in my face.
Right.
I mean,
damn.
Ron has a reputation of being a little stiff. And he definitely was that day. I mean, he was like, I ain't catch you too bad, did I? I'm like, what am I going to say to a 4-time All-American? Yes? No.
He just wants to see what you're going to say. Just yeah.
What am I going to say to you? The first black heavyweight champion of the world. What am I going to say?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say, I'm fine, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was taught to say. That's what I did. And Ron was pretty cool dude, actually.
Yeah, Ron's definitely the man. I'm definitely a big Ron Simmons fan. All his gimmicks, Farouk, all that was great.
And the fact that he's just an uber athlete in the first place, like legit.
Yeah, college Hall of Famer.
4-time All-American.
Yeah, he's the real deal too.
Yeah.
Like you said, so Phat Blues Incorporated, you and my father, Mad Dog Buzz Striker, teamed as Phat Blues Inc. What are your memories of that run together?
It was the greatest time that I had in professional wrestling.
Wow.
And your father, if you ask your father, he would say the same thing.
I believe it.
We got to be MCW. Dan McDivitt just took the training wheels off, and he took the reins off, and he said, you guys go do something. I need 12 minutes. because backstage at a show like that, it's frantic. That everything is happening a million miles. He goes, I need 12 minutes. So and so got hurt, or somebody's not here yet, or whatever. And he knew he could come to us.
He knew you could do it.
He knew he could come to us, and I would give him, if he wanted 12 minutes, he'd get 12 minutes, and it'd be 12 minutes of the whole time, all gas, no brakes.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jacob.
Hey, you were all gas, no brakes before Jacob.
Yeah, right. All before Jacob. Right.
Yeah, I remember that was definitely a part of the show that not only me, myself, and everybody that we were with, but like everyone looked forward to, because as soon as that music would hit, everyone knew what was about to happen. Everyone was about to get everybody was about to get packed up on the way out to the ring. Yep. And they loved it. They ate it up. Like,
absolutely, man. And Buzz had more. I mean, Buzz had been wrestling for years that way. He had already had some knee surgeries and stuff, but he just has so much fun. You can see that when somebody's doing something that they love doing, and now they feel like it's rebirthed and it's genuine. And I brought something different. Yeah. I can't do the same old stuff that everybody else did, because I didn't want to be the celebrity guy that walked through the door and got all these privileges, because then the guys in the back the boys don't have no respect for you, because you're here to sell tickets and that's it. But I was also arrogant enough to, when I did hit a vet that was saying, well, why I got to put this guy over? I said, because I sold more tickets than you. Right. And I've been wrestling 2 years, and there's 300 people out there to see me get beat up tonight.
Numbers don't lie.
Now, are you ready to beat me up? Oh, and by the way, if we get backstage and you beat me up in the ring, I'm gonna beat your ass when we get back to it. I'm not that nice a guy.
Yeah.
Like, let me remind you, I do have 30 years of martial arts.
What's crazy is that, like you said, you came into the business as the celebrity guy, but
that means I didn't have to clean the bathroom. I didn't have to clean the bathroom. I didn't have to jog around the building 1,000 times.
But I'm saying, like, you were brought in as an attraction. You know what I mean? As an attraction type of guy.
It means that they bought my gimmicks. Like, they bought my clothes, they bought my boots. That means they trained me for free. I ain't stupid. I'm a businessman. So when Danny and Mark in particular, when he came to me and he saw, oh, you dreamed of this, cha-ching, I could hear the damn bells going off in his head. And I'm like, hold on. Let's talk about how much I'm gonna get paid. Let's talk about who's gonna train me. Let's talk about
you were already businessman at that point, so it wasn't no getting over on like some green guy like, oh, this is my dream, give me.
Wrestling boots are like $600.
Not cheap.
Those leather boots, that's not cheap. I wasn't paying for that. MCW paid for that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, here's my commitment to you. But my commitment was, I'm not just going to come in and do the, no offense to him, but I'm not going to come in and do the Jelly Roll thing. And I think Jelly Roll did put some work in, and give respect. But he ain't put the same work in I did, and he didn't do it for 17 years. He didn't break his neck. He didn't get 3 surgeries. I did, because I didn't get in the ring to be the celebrity. I came to Bone Breakers and I learned how to wrestle. Yeah. I learned how to be a professional wrestler.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like you definitely were not looked at that how you came in. You were definitely one of the boys, and just as anybody else on that roster. So yeah, definitely that perspective.
And that was important to me. That was very, very important to me. I mean, when I came back to do the match for Bruiser and do the what they told me was a battle royal. All right. So I explained this to my wife, like, hey, baby, it's just a battle royal. I'll go in, punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. I'm the old guy. They'll get me out in the first 2 minutes, and I'm done. Not a big deal. My only bump I'm going to have to worry about is going to the floor, and I can make that look good. Don't worry. I won't get hurt. So she agreed to that. Well, I get there, and I find out it's a Royal Rumble, not a battle royal. So they start with 2 and then add 1 every 2 minutes. Right. And then, okay. So once I find this out, I look at the board, and I'm like, okay, where am I? I'm going in when? I'm thinking I'm going in like 27. I went in 3rd, man. 3rd. I was like, I'm going in 3rd? I was in that match for 24 minutes.
Damn.
And I hadn't wrestled in years, man. Dude, I got pictures of me just crawling into this. I got this big picture in my office of me crawling to the corner, and the photographer's right in the corner taking pictures, and he's got a picture of just me soaked in sweat. And I looked up and I said, with the Danny Glover comment, I'm getting too old for this. And exposed it.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, man.
It was hilarious.
But I loved my time. I'm forever in debt to MCW and Dan McDivitt and Mark the Shark Schrader, and Axel Rotten, and of course Bruiser, Rich Myers, cats that really kind of helped me live out a dream, or a fantasy, however we want to look at it, and I'll always be indebted to them for that, and I paid it back in many ways, and I still do. I just did a TV interview last week, and I dropped MCW's name in a major television, a major NBC network,
nice.
And I dropped their name because I
hey, that ain't no bingo hall, but you know what I mean. That ain't no Blaze the Bingohall, but
right. I ain't mad at the bingo hall though. I had a lot of fun in them. Had a lot of fun in them.
Did you have a favorite match or storyline with your time with Phat Blues Inc.?
No, it really was just the run with Buzz when we were heels.
It was just special.
The match that we did a match with Sandman. It was a battle royal, and I won the battle royal, and I cheated. And Buzz and I, of course, the whole thing. I did the Larry Zbyszko gimmick, so I powdered under the bottom rope, and I'm walking around while everybody's getting
recently.
While Buzz is throwing everybody out, and then he gets right to the end. I slide in the ring and I dump him over the top, and I'm like, sorry, but I'm smarter than you. That's why I'm the boss. That whole thing. And Buzz, of course, plays into that completely. And then all of a sudden we think it's over, and everyone's championing me, and they're pissed off at me at the same time, of course. And then they hit the Sandman's music, and of course he comes out and beats the hell out of me, and then throws me over the top rope. And it was great because he showed up hammered.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother thing that I don't want to speak ill of the man, but yeah. It wasn't the most professional thing. But to say that he didn't perform, I can't say that. He still was able to get in the ring and do what he did, and he ain't the only one I've ever seen in that kind of condition, But that's the same thing for music. I've seen cats get on stage after being backstage doing things, and I'm going, how you gonna get home? You're not gonna be sober after the show.
Right.
Why are you this messed up before the show? And I don't do that, man. You won't even see us drinking on stage because we don't come to party. We are the party.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. It's some people let the party take over sometimes, and it kind of gets cloudy. But
it happens when you live your gimmick. When you live in your gimmick and you forget.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do. We are all in the ego business.
Yeah.
So, but when you can't turn it off, and that's radio too. I mean, I've been blessed to be able to be in so many facets of entertainment. But yeah, it's
what advice would you give to a young artist or a wrestler chasing their dreams right now?
Don't be ashamed to be an opportunist. Taj Mahal, the great blues man, said to me one time, I said, Taj, how have you been kicking ass like this for so long? Like, no offense, but you're not a young man, and you've been doing it since Woodstock? I'm like, he said, oh, it's real simple, man. He said, Junior, it's like this. Don't sell yourself short in the beginning, and you won't have to sell yourself out in the end. And that has always made sense to me. And Deanna Bogart told me, never compromise. Fail, but don't compromise.
Do you think that can, in some ways, that hey, sometimes you got to be a little bit selfish in a way that's good for you? That like you said,
you got to look out for you got to look out for your career, but that doesn't mean that you can't be a guy that can't put somebody else over, or you can't do a job. You know what I'm saying? That's not that. That I think that who was it that said it? I was at a workshop. It wasn't Ric Flair, and I did some stuff with Ric Flair too, but I think it was Ricky Steamboat. I'm pretty sure it was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And Ricky said it didn't make a difference to him whether he was winning or losing or what. He was like, just let me know what the finish needs to be, how long the match you need to be, and if I'm putting somebody over, it's still going to be the match of the night.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's self-confidence. Yeah,
right. We're here to entertain. Like, I'm not here to live my gimmick. I don't care about my win-loss record. I care about, did you leave? See, here's the magic about being a wrestler, and then I'm gonna have to get out of here soon.
I got 2 more questions for you, and I'll let you go.
Okay. the magic of being a wrestler for me, especially when I was a heel. I come out, I see this guy standing here. This is the same guy that came home from work all pissed off. He had to gather up his 3 kids. He had to get his wife. You know, he's grumpy. He gets everybody in the car on a Friday night. He's paying $25 a ticket. He had to buy 2 shirts. He had to buy popcorn, hot dogs, and pizza for everybody. And he's got a 44-ounce, $8 beer. That's, if he drinks 2 more of those, going to probably make him poop himself before he leaves. So he's sitting there with his Schaefer or whatever it is, and he's drinking it. And I come out and I call his kids brats and his wife fat and ugly. And then as I'm coming down, I'm more creative than that. I'm not taking the low hanging fruit, but as I come out and I get under their skin, he turns, looks at me, and he throws his beer. And just as it leaves his fingertips, he remembers he just threw his beer at a character. That's like going to a play and getting mad at Othello. You're not the king. He's an actor, dude. Like this is what he's doing for a living. And I made him forget, and he realizes in that moment that he forgot. And I gave them to that. And now he's same dudes that are waiting for an autograph after the show. Now he's walking to his car, and his kids are putting him over. Dad, that was so cool what you did to Kelly Bell, man. That was awesome. My dad's the greatest. And then he comes home from work the next day. He walks into the kitchen. He pats his wife on the hind parts. First time he's done that in like 2 years. And then he walks into the living room and he asks the kids about, did they get their homework done? He ain't asked them about their homework all year. But now all of a sudden he feels like he's more interested in what they were doing just because they put him over that. And they're ready to tell him how cool he is again and how they were bragging about it at school and all of that other stuff. And I gave him that. I gave him that.
Yeah. It's a special connection.
Absolutely.
I know you talked about it earlier with your wife, but was there anything left on the table when you stepped away from wrestling? And how do you feel like about there ever being a return? I know you said never say never. So I guess that's the old wrestler mindset, right?
I'm making sure she's not listening. No wrestler ever has his last match.
There you go.
If your dad calls me, I will answer the phone.
Hey, I'm just saying, just remember we had this episode and a couple of months from now, you never say never, okay? We'll
it's got to be the right. Like I said, I am an opportunist, and that's not a word that I think is a bad word. And if one of my best friends in the world, Mike Brack, calls me, aka Buzz Striker, I would definitely consider it. I would definitely consider it just because it's him. But it would have to be the right opportunity too. You know, I'm not going to go do somebody's basement private party with fake ropes and, duct tape corners. I'm not going to do that. I'm not because this stuff hurts. And when you ain't done it in years and your body's not conditioned for it anymore, man, that battle royal I was in for 24 minutes, I was black and blue for weeks. I took like 9 bumps in that match. That's a lot of bumps for a guy that don't bump every night.
And you went into it thinking that this was going to be the easier match.
I thought they were going to get the old guy out of there early, but it was really cool to come backstage and see the boys backstage applauding for me when I came back. And they were like, no one had any idea that you were going to take bumps at all. Like, but you took more than anybody did out there right now. Only the guys that, the last 6 guys that wrapped the match up. Nobody took more bumps than I did. And I had some really creative stuff. They had a faction in the match. They had a faction in the match that they were all together, And so at one point they had just about beat up everybody that was in the match in the moment, and then they were backing me in the corner. And I acted like I was coming out, and I went, wait. And they just all pointed for me to get out the ring. And it was like 6 of them all pointing at the same time. And it looked like a cartoon. And then I eased my way over and then I just stepped over the ring. And instead of being the face in that moment, which I was, as soon as I took myself out, and of course, Larry the Legend put me over, and he said, Kelly Bell has eliminated himself from and all you hear is boo. And I came up with that idea.
That's hilarious.
I came up with that idea. I was like, you know what? This is how we're going to get Kelly out of this match. And I even got with the guys backstage and said, all of you got to be tight You all got to point with the same hand, and you all got to point to the same 45-degree angle, or it's going to look stupid. You don't want it to look like a Three Stooges poster. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like that. Everybody's got to do it together. And if you do it together, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely hilarious.
All right. Give me one more.
Yeah.
And
Last one I got for you. What's next for Kelly Bell? Any new music projects, wrestling appearances? We already talked about that, but what should fans look out for? Where can they find you? What you got coming up, Kelly?
First thing I'm trying to do is be a better husband.
Oof.
That's the first thing I'm trying to do, because I got married 2 years ago and I adore this woman. The other thing that I'm trying to do is we're writing a new record number 15 for the Kelly Bell Band. We just booked some more military shows, so we're going to be traveling a little bit and doing some more stuff for our United States military all over the world. So there's some exciting things. You know, I think this was a very successful year for the Kelly Bell Band, and we've had a resurgence. Again, like I said, we've never done bad, but now we're doing better than good. So I'm sure people are probably sick of seeing me in the media this year. Well, don't be, because Kelly ain't done, baby. 30 years, it's only the beginning. The best song I've ever written hasn't been written yet.
You heard it here, guys. This has been Kelly Bell and your boy Young Lurch. Thank you guys for coming by and blazing the bingo hall. Kelly, it's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you popping up in music. Hopefully I'll catch you at a show. It's been a long time. And who knows, like I said, maybe never say never in the bingo hall.
Never say never. And let me say this to you.
Yes, sir.
Your father and I are extremely proud of you.
Appreciate that. It means a lot.
Peace.
Peace.